let me present myself first. Because I don't get the Arabic version, but probably my good friend Ahmed Said already presented me. I finished my PhD in Toulouse, France, and now I'm working for the British University in Egypt. So with my friend there, we are writing a book about the Egyptian economy. It was really inspiring to hear high government officials actually confirming what we are seeing on the ground in our observations, that actually they're doing it on purpose and with great thought and with great care. So let me talk about the inspiration for this book. I lived in China for 6 months. It was in 2008 and 2009. So China was still building its economical miracle. So what I saw there was absolutely impressive. They worked on bridges like this one, and they built them in a couple of months. So I lived in the northern city of China. So when I went back to Shanghai, I saw bridges like that being built after 2-3 months. And when I first went there, they were just starting them. So it was extremely impressive. I saw China being built in front of my eyes. Why am I talking about China? Because I saw the same thing in Egypt. The bridge, the new bridge on the Nile, is extremely impressive. The new capital, the high-speed train. I'm personally very impressed with the high-speed train because I go very, very often to Sokhna. So what I saw, I thought they're going to build a high-speed train. And I was like, oh, maybe in 10 years they're going to have it. What I saw in just couple of months after they announced it, I saw personally a lot of machinery, digging, building, and the amount of machinery was absolutely impressive. I thought they're going to put like 2 or 3 diggers there, and they're going to build it slowly. No, it's on a very, very large scale. Also, I went to Galala City. The picture down there on the right bottom corner is Galala City. It's very close to the Red Sea, and there was nothing there, just mountains. The Galala Road, also in a very short time, from having a no safe road to go to Sokhna, now there is a beautiful highway going through the mountains. So what I saw in China, I see it in Egypt. And I see it on a very large scale. That means the government is very actively pursuing a program of development based on large-scale projects. So what does that mean? Because I'm a lecturer, I have to explain the theory behind everything. Basically, John Maynard Keynes said, even if you build pyramids, because let's take it, pyramids are not very useful for anything but burying a pharaoh inside. So they're not very useful structures. They don't produce anything, at least in short term, but now we see that there are a lot of tourists going to see them. So after 3,000 years, they're still producing wealth for Egypt. So he said, even if you build pyramids, your economy is going to grow. So that's what the government is doing. The government is stimulating the economy with large-scale projects based on the Keynesian theory of economics. Why is this important? The Egyptian government, when it applies this theory, makes the economy grow. We know that now in our time of COVID, there are very few economies that grow. Most economies shrink by 10, 20% even. What the Egyptian economy did was to grow with 3.5% in 2020, which is absolutely impressive. And And it's important to understand why that is happening. Because the stimulus the government is providing stimulates the demand side of the economy. That means the government is increasing employment, because for you to build a new highway, for you to build a new railroad, or a new city for that matter, you employ a lot of people. So these people, they have money, and they have to spend the money. So more money circulates in the economy, and in that way, you increase the output of the economy. So that means you have economic growth. So that's what the Egyptian government is doing. They are building the economy in a really impressive way during very hard times. And the result is positive. If you have economic growth in these hard times during the pandemic, the only other country I know that managed to do that is China. None of the countries where I lived or studied, or which are quite a few, managed to do that. So the challenges for Egypt are still there. There are a lot of things that the government has to do. So I did my PhD, as I said, in Toulouse University. I had the privilege to speak about my PhD thesis with a Nobel Prize laureate who is the director of Toulouse School of Economics. So the theory that he promotes in that school combines two elements. One of the elements is government intervention, as the Egyptian government is doing, and the other element is stimulating free markets. So basically the theorists who built those schools of thought are von Mises, the Austrian School of Economics, and Bيقول, who is a follower of Keynes. So basically the government is doing very well on the intervention side, and from what I've heard from the distinguished guests we had today, they're very seriously thinking about stimulating companies and helping companies, and stimulating the free market. So the Egyptian government is working on both sides of that theory. Why is that important? Because until recently there was a predominant economic theory called neoliberalism. That theory was taught in schools like Harvard and other top American universities. So when graduates from those most renowned universities in the world went, for example, to Mexico, and they were given very high positions in the Mexican government, they didn't manage to bring economic growth. Why? Because they based the whole practical thing they were trying to do on stimulating only free markets. So the Egyptian government is not doing that. We saw that the Chinese did it, so I'm pretty sure the Egyptians will do it as well. So we are writing a book on the Egyptian economy. I think it's very important for people to hear what is happening in Egypt, because at least in the West we don't hear much about what's happening in Egypt. So we are helping, we were trying to write a book that will help find that fine balance between government intervention and free markets. And because we're doing it in the law school, we are lawyers, so we are mostly focusing on the regulation that exists. And maybe we already have a few suggestions, so if the government wants to listen, we are ready to share information with them, and we also need information from them to see what's really happening on the ground, because being an academic, if you don't do your field research, you're staying in the books, and that doesn't work normally. All right, so the chapters of our book, not in any particular order. So we heard today the distinguished speakers before me. They spoke pretty much about all those things. I didn't hear that much about the credit markets, but they spoke about transport regulation. They spoke about the big projects. They invested trillions of dollars in. We heard about the banking regulation a little bit. We heard about the digital economy, how the digital economy can help improve the Egyptian economy. We talked about international investment as well. And what I found absolutely fascinating personally, because I really like organic food, the representative of the government spoke about sustainable development and organic farming. So the Egyptian government is doing a lot of things that we want to study closer and propose solutions and listen to the government as well. What I hear from people in Egypt sometimes is we don't really understand why the government is building those big things, and what does that have to do with us? This is normal. This is absolutely normal. These people will feel what the government is doing in a few years. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen today. Why? Because the value of large-scale transportation project is not absolute or intellectually knowable. Imagine the new high-speed train or the new highway to Sokhna. Because when I came to Egypt, I remember, because I really like the sea. You know, I like organic food and the sea. So I went to Sokhna. It was my first weekend in Egypt, and I took a driver who didn't speak English. My Arabic was zero at the time. Now it's a little bit better, but only a little. When I took that driver to Sokhna, he took me through those desert roads that I was like, this guy kidnapping me. Where is he taking me? What is happening? The road was atrocious. Now I sit in the car. There is a highway all the way to Sokhna. I'm absolutely happy. I don't drive with a speed less than, for the sake of my driver, 120. But before it was impossible. All that is happening in front of my eyes on a very large scale, very quickly. And I'm absolutely impressed. So my valuation of what the government is doing is I'm absolutely happy because I drive to Sokhna in half the time I used to. But imagine somebody who lives in downtown Cairo and never goes to Sokhna. What does that person care about that highway? Nothing. For example, I showed you the beautiful big picture of the big bridge, the big new bridge. I never seen it. I never go there. So to me, the value of that bridge is zero. But I'm sure there are thousands of people who use it every day and who say, this is amazing. We are very happy that we have it because that reduces our commute time in half, for example. The way the highway to Sokhna reduces my time that I spend in the car, and I really don't like driving that much. So some people get benefit from some of the projects. We saw a big accident on the trains the other day. So the people who take that train, they're not going to feel the new high-speed train that goes from Sokhna to the North Coast straight away. But they're going to feel it next time when the government builds high-speed train from Cairo to Aswan. So slowly people will start feeling that. I mean, driving today to this place, I mean, I see so much more new cars in Egypt than before. So that means there is more money circulating in the economy and people can afford to buy more things. So slowly the government policies are showing. People will see them more and more visibly. All right? So why is this book important? Because, as I said, in the West, nobody knows about what's happening in Egypt. We can give some ideas to the government. We can give some ideas to the business. And if the government and the business are interested in talking to us, we are more than willing, because we have some research ability that can be extended a lot with some assistance. And we can provide more help. So if you're interested, if you're in business or government, please talk to us. Mahinur is over there, she's helping me, or you can talk to me directly. We are more than happy to talk to all of you. So thank you very much.